Welcome to the power of TNT Motorsports. TNT Motorsports puts you on the front row, where you'll feel the thunder of the most powerful sport on earth, truck and tractor pulling, and the breathtaking spectacle of explosive monster truck racing. During the next hour, experience some of the most spectacular action these sports have to offer. Meet the superstars behind the wheel and learn about the sophisticated technology involved in these power-packed machines. You'll see the best vehicles and drivers, regulars at more than 100 events produced nationwide every year by TNT. So sit back and enjoy as TNT turns the power on.
The sun's waking up at the break of day, getting on down that old highway, try to make Nashville before midnight. Grab a cup of coffee for the road, big rigs pulling a heavy load, rolling on down, turning the power on. Rolling on down, turning the power on.
Singer Bobby Bare is right on target when he describes truck and tractor pulling in his song, Turning the Power On. Power is the name of the game in this sport, and there's highly sophisticated technology involved in making this power work. You're about to discover the power and technology of 4 different classes of vehicles: super-modified 2-wheel drive trucks and funny cars, modified 4-wheel drive trucks, multi-engine modified tractors, and super stock tractors. We'll also meet the talented people who build and drive these machines. The rules of pulling are simple enough. One at a time, the vehicles attempt to pull a weight transfer machine, or sled, the length of a dirt track. The winner is the vehicle that moves the heavy sled the greatest distance. Let's take a look now at the operation of the sled and an equally sophisticated piece of machinery used for measuring the length of a pull. Here's Army Armstrong, the voice of TNT on ESPN.
The one constant piece of equipment used in professional pulling is the weight transfer sled. All participants must pull the sled. There are 3 main parts of the sled: the weight box, the main drive assembly, and the skid pan. Through the series of chains, the weight box, which is connected through a transmission through the rear wheels, once locked in gear, will come up at the same rate for every participant in the event. As the weight comes forward, we told you a moment ago about the skid pan, it puts more pressure on that skid pan, and that's what actually pulls the vehicles down. Now, the gentleman responsible for operating this, Mr. Ron Hickson out of Pennsylvania. Ron, the decision-maker sled, how do you make the decision as to how much weight you're going to use for each of the classes that compete on the tour?
Well, the weight's determined by the class, and that I know just about what the vehicles and the class that I'm running, about roughly what weight it takes on different different tracks. It varies a little, but not much.
This afternoon in the modified tractor division, what will you be looking for as far as weight?
Oh, in the 9 modified today, it'll take 25 to 28,000 pounds in the box.
Okay, now 25 to 28,000 pounds in the box. What is the total weight when you put that box weight to the actual weight of the sled itself?
When the box is clear at the top, that's close 55,000 pounds on the pan that they drag on the skid pan.
So this afternoon in the modified tractor division, it's going to take 55,000 pounds to pull the multi-engine tractors down. Professional pulling used to be a game of feet. Now it's a game of thousands of feet due to the introduction of the laser measuring device. The front of the sled, a small mirror is located. At the completion of each run, an electronic beam is shot into that mirror, feeds back information that's put into a small computer, and instantly you'll get a readout of the distance of the pull to the nearest 1/1000th of a foot. High tech in the sport of pulling on the Red Man Tour.
One of the newest classes in truck and tractor pulling is the super modified two-wheel drive class. Here to explain the class is Ken Lamont of Crossville, Illinois, a former two-wheel drive national champion with TNT.
Okay, this vehicle here is a super modified two-wheel drive truck. Uses the same sled that the four-wheel drives use and the dragster tractors, the modified tractors use. The main difference in this vehicle over a four-wheel drive is the rear wheels is the only thing it does the pulling, which in effect gives it the wheel standing picture with the front end up in there and the wheelies. And it's really the funny car class of tractor pulling. Anything goes, as long as you can comply to the length laws. Two-wheel drives is the only thing doing the pulling. You can run a supercharged engine on alcohol, no nitro, just strictly alcohol or gasoline. The vehicle weighs 6,200 pounds with the driver in it. Any clutch, any transmission. It's more or less the double B funny car class of pulling. It's just like we don't have any cubic inch limit like drag racing or NASCAR or whatever. Right now we have no cubic inch limit, so the only motor stipulation, it has to be a V8 engine. You can't run a turbine or an Allison or any kind of an aircraft engine. It has to be a V8 automotive type engine. The most critical part about a two-wheel drive is getting the front end weight right. I've run on tracks where I might run 4 of these little weights on the front, and then I've run on tracks where we might run 18 of these little weights on the front. We have got to make that decision ourselves. That's why sometimes you'll see guys come out and their front end will never come up in there. They were too heavy. Or you'll see guys come out and the front end goes straight in there and they were obviously too light. So that's the most critical part about a two-wheel drive. The second thing is probably the gearing, getting the right gearing for the right track. Some tracks you got to use a real fast gear where you turn your tires real fast. Some tracks you got to get it where you turn your tires slower to make it hook up to the track. And probably the third and one of the toughest things is actually the way we drive it off the line. We've all got hand throttles. We don't use our feet like in a car. We use a hand throttle like on a farm tractor. And it's real hard to drive these things coming off the line. It's kind of like driving a car out of a snowbank. If you've ever driven a car in the snow, if you take off, you go real easy and everything going fine. But as soon as you push on the gas real hard, it might stop. It just starts spinning. And that's the same way driving a two-wheel drive is. You've really got to have a good feel for that throttle. That's why we've all got hand throttles and not foot throttles, because you've got so much more control over your hand than you do your foot.
Lamont is just one of the stars in two-wheel drive truck pulling. Wayne Roush of Dublin, Ohio, campaigns 2 of the best trucks in the class and is always in the hunt for points championships. Roush holds a doctorate from Ohio State University, where he was a professor before giving up the academic life to pursue pulling full-time. These veterans are continually challenged by newcomers, such as Chuck Chitwood of Lafayette, Tennessee. Chitwood's success in recent years will only increase as he makes the transition from video store entrepreneur to professional truck puller. The biggest obstacle facing any of these contenders is Jim Lyons, a 5-time TNT national champion out of Louisville, Kentucky. A former world champion drag racer, Lyons also is renowned for his engine building skills. He builds top motors not only for himself, but for many of the drivers seeking to dethrone him as the superstar of two-wheel drive pulling.